budget cuts. Governor Walker had planned on slashing the system by $300 million. But tonight, the Joint Finance Committee proposed a compromise and settled on a cut of $250 million for the 26 institutions. NBC 26's Eric Crest has more.
The budget cuts for the UW system were inevitable with a majority Republican budget writing committee, but with an extra $50 million in the budget, there is some optimism mixed with disappointment.
Today, the Joint Finance Committee had several budget-related goals, but figuring out how much to cut from the UW system seemed to be a major talking point.
Well, what's going to happen is we're going to put $50 million more into the UW system, but most importantly, we're going to give them some tools to address the cuts.
Rather than a $300 million cut for 26 state education institutions, it will be a $250 million cut. And on top of that, a plan to continue a state tuition freeze for 2 more years, which could equate to less money for the schools.
The tuition freeze is really good for the parents, but the reason, if you couple both of them, a cut with a freeze, it's really devastating. I don't want tuition to go up. I want more state money going into the UW system, and that's what we should be doing.
We want to put the focus on students. We're putting a freeze on tuition, and we're going to ask the university system to have a new partnership with the state, which will say that we want to work together.
Supporters say that the new partnership would give schools more flexibility with purchasing and leasing buildings and land, all for school use, to use the money in their budget more effectively.
For months, many institutions have been announcing layoffs and budget cuts from classes to sports, all to help cope with what will ultimately be a tightening of the belt for some of the best schools across the state. Eric Crest, NBC 26.
UW-Oshkosh says they are pleased with the decision. Tonight they released this statement saying, quote, the $50 million relief to the governor's proposed $300 million budget reduction is great news for UW-Oshkosh and the UW system. The budget's next stop for approval will be the state Senate and Assembly. They will likely vote as soon as next month.